Hi guys, it's Allie with Chaos Monkey, and once again I'm trying to do this with some crappy lighting, so I apologize. It snowed, so we get a lot of light, but it's that dreary gray light, so it doesn't really help when it comes in the window. I have the curtains open, but it's yuck. So the overhead light is what I'm using. So yeah, I wanted to do like a WIPS finishes ongoing stuff video because I have a lot of stuff and I'm forgetting what I'm doing and what I finished, and I need to do a video. So here I am, and look, I got my nails done, you guys. They're so pretty. This is like how I normally do them, but like professionally. Yeah, I'm so happy. Gypsy Rose, you inspired me because I saw her nails, and I used to get my nails done all the time. And I love them, and she got like, what is it, Valentine's Day was the last set I saw, which was her most recent, and I loved her nails, and I was like, you know what, I have money saved up to get my nails done, I just never do it, and I went in and did it, so I feel really good. It's one of those things that's like, treat yourself. I know nails aren't for everybody, but I love them, and I just never did them because I was always sick, or, you know, it was some excuse besides being sick. You know, like I'm too tired, or which is real for me because I do have a chronic illness, but excuse me, I'm kind of futzing around here while I'm talking, but get my stuff organized. But yeah, but I finally just did it because also I hadn't found a good nail place since I moved. And you know how it's kind of hard to find a good nail place for anybody who's familiar. So it's really a hit or miss thing. You have to try out a few people. And so I followed a whole bunch of reviews, and I got a good nail place. They did a really good job. I didn't have to do any corrections. I didn't have to do any filing. I mean, and I asked for stilettos, and they did a really good stiletto. So you guys can see those. The only downside is, which is the shape, you guys, by the way. That's the shape. It's the pointed shape now. That's kind of trendy, is stiletto. I was going to do coffin, which is like a square, but like a tapered square, but then I really wanted to do stiletto because I've been wanting to try it, and plus I saw gypsies and I was like, that's it, I'm doing it. I'm doing stilettos. But yeah, it's a hit or miss to get a good nail place, just like a good hair place. So I really lucked out and found a really good one right off the bat. So I'm really happy. It's one of those things where you treat yourself and you just feel good about it for days, and that's what that is. Every time I see my nails, I feel good. So I'm really glad I finally just went in and did it. Plus it's hard for me to sit for an hour to get a set put on, but my pain levels were pretty good, so I didn't have too much pain then. So, yay! Alright, so I kind of got all my stuff together. I'm going to do finishes first, and then I'm going to do a ramble at the end if you guys are interested. So first things first, we have to get these socks out of the way. Remember I was working on these socks forever because my sock mojo kind of left me? Well, I finished the socks. I blocked the socks. I'm going to try to brighten this up a little bit, you guys, so excuse the... Is that a little better? I don't want it to blow out, but I don't want it to be so dingy. These were for my boyfriend, and I was working on these forever, and I think you guys last saw the heels, and so this is just the cuff where I did the what did I do? Was it 2x2? 2x2 ribbing. Just across the front. The back had no ribbing. And then, of course, the garter heel and the fish lips kiss. And the squishy on the bottom, which I've shown like probably a million times. All of the socks I do for him, you'll see this squishy on the bottom. And you will see stuff stuck to these, because as soon as I had them on the sock blockers, he woke up that morning and put them on. Okay, keep in mind he has an entire box full of handmade socks, and they were clean. But he saw the new socks, and he gets so excited, he ran off with them. So I didn't get to show you guys. So he wore them for like 2 days in a row, and I had to steal them back and rewash them and reblock them so I could show them without them being super stretched out. But now I can give them back to him because he loves his socks. But now you can see like the finish, how far I do the cuff, and I do the cuff as long as I can, and then sorry, this is the leg. I do the leg as long as I can, then get to the cuff, which is the ribbing part, to use it as much as the yarn as possible. And I don't remember how much I have left, but it wasn't very much, but I always have a little bit of scraps, so Normally it's like 2. When you get this close, you're like, you just want it over with. So it's really hard to finish those last bits of yarn. But that's how long I make them all. And you can see he already did some damage here, you guys. He was rubbing, he's wearing a pair of shoes he doesn't normally wear. And it has like the back torn out. You know how your heel will tear out the back of a shoe? And he already rubbed the hell out of this sock. So you can see why I make so many socks. Because I wasn't joking, we use them. There's no pristine sock drawer in my house. We use them, we wash them hard, and they get destroyed fast. And I make tons. So I think we tried to add up how many I'd actually made for us that wasn't gifts for other people. And I was probably into the 60s or 70s. If I remember correctly, it was like 68 pairs of socks. So, but I think I've kind of lost my sock mojo lately, so you may not see a lot of socks. One of my crafty goals was to do, ooh, there's a new thing on here. There's a new thing on my camera I've never seen. Must have been an update. I changed one of the setting things. Anyway, one of my crafty goals was to do 12 pairs of socks, because I've done that before, just a pair a month. And I don't know, I'm just not feeling the sock mojo. So what else did I finish? I think I'll pull this out just because it's in the way. And as you guys know, I am doing the calendar blanket from 2016 from Jayda and Stitches, and I'll try to link everything down below because I haven't figured out how to do subtitles that work. Like I'll put the subtitles in my editor, but then when it goes to YouTube's, they're gone. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, but I can't do subtitles for corrections or for you know, makers and all that. But here was the one I made recently. Oh, I should probably show you them all. You've seen them last time, but here's January for a recap. Here's February. Here's March. This is April, where I have to redo the eyes because I took them off because they stuck up too far. This is May that I finished a week ago, and then this is June, which is almost completely done. So it's kind of not a finished finish, but I need to do the eyes, and I wanted to do the eyes the same time as I did the bunny eyes to get them out of the way. But then there's also these pink cheeks, and you know how I'm trying to do sparkle in each one. So I was going to wait to get some pink sparkle to do the cheeks on this guy. Is this too bright? I think it's too bright now. Oh my gosh, I hate this lighting, you guys. And I'm not like going to buy professional lighting anytime soon, so I don't know. I can't wait till we get better sunlight. But so hopefully the lighting isn't too. It always looks darker on my camera too, so that throws me off than actually when it gets processed. So now I'm on June, and I'm very proud of myself because I'm worried I'm going to stop again. Because before I had gone to April and just stopped, put it away, and it was because the squares were too small. And then I had a commenter. Oh, I wish I see. I'm so bad. She said make colored squares to kind of augment it. So you know, and I thought that was a great idea because I was trying to figure out how to make the squares bigger. So I was either going to make the border bigger and just expand this white border before I attach them all, and kind of have a white, that'll turn into a white, I don't know, grid kind of around the squares, or to add, like she said, to make solid color squares and kind of just add them here and there. I was thinking about doing the solid color squares, but a lot of these colors were scraps and they're completely gone. And I'd probably want to make the same colors to kind of mix them up. Not next to each other, but like to tie it all together. So because I don't have a lot of these colors left, I might end up just making the big border. I don't know, but it's definitely an idea. I mean, the squares don't have to be the same colors. I could just throw in whatever. I just don't want it to be too crazy. You know what I mean? I want to kind of tie it together since there's going to be a lot of colors in this one. So this is kind of not a finish, so kind of a finish, not a finish. But I wanted it off the table before I knock it down. Oh, here's a finish. This, you cannot see. Let me move this. Hold on, it's going to wiggle. This is the Perfect Gift Poncho. that I first saw on the Canadian Crocheter, and she had made a couple, and they are, it's a free pattern, and I'll link it down below. Where's my notes? I had some notes like a good girl. Blah blah blah. Wilma Westenberg is the designer for this. And there's a tutorial on YouTube, so you can totally follow along. You don't have to read a pattern. And, oh, by the way, this is crochet. My squares are crochet. You guys know that. And I only used one ball. It's of Scarfy in the cranberry black. She uses 2 balls, so the thing is huge. And I will put in pictures. You know I will, to show you how it actually fits. I'm not very big. I remember I lost a lot of weight when I went on the keto diet. So I lost like 45 to 47 pounds. And I'm still losing, and I don't make things really big because I'm afraid I'll swim in them if I keep losing weight. So I just did 1 ball, and it fits way past my elbows. It's very cuddly and snuggly. So if you do 2 balls, it will fit probably everybody on the planet because it will be really a good size. And it's one size kind of fits all type of situation. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but it's pretty much, because it's so stretchy and because the 2 balls make it so big, it fits everybody. You know, it'll hang how it needs to on everybody and make you look good. So, but yeah, I really like the pattern. As you can see how it gets holier here, and it starts off smaller up here. I was a little confused on how to do the top part, but again, tutorial, free pattern, and I'll link everything down below. So I remember I bought the Scarfy, and I didn't know what to make with it because I did not want to make what was on the ball band because, hello, boring scarf thing. And this was perfect. So, and if I pick up another ball of the cranberry red, I can just tack it on here if I want to make it bigger, but I really don't think I want it that big. And this is a wool blend, you guys, so it's warm. I've already worn this out several times. Like, I'll wear it over, because you can wear it as a poncho, you can wear it as a cowl, and bunch it up. And I bunched it up and tucked it under my jacket, and it's really warm, and it's super soft, so it's not really that itchy. It's a little itchy if you wear it a long time, but wool will get itchier in warm places than cold places, if that makes sense. Like, if you wear a lot of wool and you're out in the cold, it's not itchy. But when you go into a warm area, it tends to get more itchy. I think it's because, like all hair, it kind of contracts and expands. So in cold weather, it keeps you super warm, but it contracts. And when you go into a warm area, a warm house, it expands, and so the hairs kind of get more pokey. It's just normal stuff. Normal stuff with wool. So you really can't wear like a lot of wool inside your home if your home's really, really warm. My house is not warm. I have a really crappy apartment, and I can't even turn the heater on in the outside room. I'm in the bedroom right now. Because it's so drafty, it just sucks all the heat out. And our heating bill will quadruple. And so I don't even turn the heat on out there. So I wear a lot of woolies in the house. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But if I'm staying in my warm room, I take them off because they'll get itchy. But if I'm running around cleaning and going in and out, I will keep my woolies on all day. So, this is my next finish as I ramble. So sorry, you guys. I've had a really bad few days. I had some flare-ups and some severe fatigue. For anybody who doesn't know, I have fibromyalgia and like 8 million other things. Sorry, I had to get a drink of coffee. And I was having a really bad, painful, fatigue-ridden couple of days. So when you get over that, you get a little chatty because you feel so much better about not being in agony. So I made some dresses for my 18-inch doll because, you know, I'm into that now like a crazy woman. Never thought I would make doll clothes, but I love me some doll clothes. And this is from allmycrafts. She does free 18-inch doll patterns. And she does tutorials too, so you don't have to read a pattern. And I made this out of, what did I make this out of? Hold on. Oh yeah, it was the Toasty Sweet Marmalade Parade from Yarn Bee from Hobby Lobby. And the gauge came out a little small because of the yarn being thinner than what the designer designed it in. She did it in a red heart. So this dress came out a little smaller and a little closer fitting than I wanted it. But this was like my prototype. I know how I whip one out and then decide if it works or it doesn't work. And so I liked the pattern. I added the ruffles to the sleeves. She didn't have these on the tutorial, but it's really easy. You just do it similar to the bottom, but you just make them smaller for the ruffle. And mostly it was because of the color changes. What I didn't like was, in this ball, I thought it was going to be gradual color changes. It started with the blue and the green. As you can see, it kind of gradually went into the green. Well, I guess it is harsh, you just couldn't see it as well. Blue to the green. But then it went straight from the green to the yellow. I did not like that at all. And I didn't cut it out because I wasn't sure I was going to keep this dress. I might rip the whole dress out. So that I did not like at all. And so then I did this, and then because this was screaming at you from the bottom, I had to do some up here to kind of tie the dress together. So I'm not sure how I feel about this yarn. This is this a cotton? No, it's an acrylic wool blend. And it's kind of shiny. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe this just isn't the right thing to do with it at all. I have to find a better pattern. But that was the first dress. And then I made another dress in a yarn similar to what she used. She used the red heart stripes, and I had some red heart ombre hanging around. So I did another dress in the ombre. And as you can see, I steam blocked this so it has a tiny bit more drape. The ombre doesn't really steam block super floppy, but it will get a tiny bit more drapey. And I put the flower on, and I made the matching bag with a little flower. I had to kind of move the flowers around to where they'd show, like the darker yarn against the lighter yarn, because of the ombre. But this is the green ombre. That doesn't, I'd probably show up more of a blue, but it's the spearmint, I think. And then I also made the little booties, which these are kind of stretching out weird in the toe. These have been on her for a week, and you can see how they're kind of stretching out in the toe. But also the doll that allmycrafts uses is, I did not realize this, but there are different proportion 18-inch dolls. Her dolls are more baby proportion, like toddler proportion, so the legs are thicker and the feet are fatter, but they're still considered 18-inch dolls. Mine is more of a, like a, I don't know, a child proportion. So the shoes didn't look the same when I put them on her feet, because her feet were a little more skinny and long on my doll, but they're still cute. So you can see they're just little Mary Janes to kind of match. And yeah, I whipped out a couple of shoes, a dress, and I put a button on the back here. Add some buttons that actually went with the color. So I think I did that in maybe a day? 2 days. I think it was 2 days that I worked on this. Like, not the whole day, but you know, like an evening and a day to get that out. So yeah, if you go to allmycrafts, she's got all kinds of dresses and all kinds of cool stuff to make, and they're all free. And yeah, go subscribe, and if you like these type of things, give her some love, because she puts a lot of work into her tutorials, and they're really easy to follow. They're very clear. Okay, another finish is, I hope this green shows up. It's not blocked and the ends aren't woven in. Let me see if I can adjust my, I don't know if it's going to adjust or not, you guys. It's so dark in here. But this has grays and greens, and this is, what was this? Yarn Bee Delish Boutique in the Proud Popover. So if you remember last time I made something in the, what was it, Cherry Popover, the red and black. I made a different pattern. And this one is Proud Popover. And remember, it's not block, so it's a little boochy on the edges. And this one I actually finished completely. I did all the way to the picot edge. Sometimes I won't do the picot, sometimes I'll just totally adapt it if I run out of yarn. And this is what I had left. And I did not weigh this. Let me see how much. I was a little disappointed because I really like to try to get all of it in there, but I was not going to rip it out, that's for sure, to make it fit. Let me see if I can even get this to... I'm going to do this in ounces. So I had 0.3 ounces left. So that's not even enough for a stripe or anything. So I probably guessed perfectly, to be honest, where this was, I was going to have this left over no matter what. Because here you can adjust how many of these you do. I did 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 4 in each stripe. And so that gives you a lot of leeway to kind of use up some yarn in here. But then you also have to adapt here when you do your chains. And make your chains fit so that when you do your double crochets, they're even. But, you know, you guys know that. You can figure that out. So, let me try to show you. Here's the top. And the color changes on this did really well. I didn't have to cut anything out. It did almost whole stripes of each color change, so I kind of got lucky. And it looks like I planned it, or I cut out pieces, and I didn't have to, which is another reason I love this yarn. Another thing I would tell you guys, though, is, oh, squeak. If you use this yarn, and I do love it, and I will use it again, but it has alpaca in it. It is very, very grabby. It's 10% alpaca and 90% acrylic, so it is very hard to rip back. And I pulled from the middle of the ball on this one and the last one. This one was giving me a fit when it started to collapse. You know how they do when you're working with them. It's really started tangling in on itself. So if you buy this or you have it and you haven't used it yet, pull from the outside of the ball and make sure it's a pattern that you are familiar with, because this will not let you rip it back. It will get really, really stuck on itself because the hairs will grab. So just a heads up, I forgot to warn you guys about that last time, because I believe the red and black one didn't grabby. It wasn't as grabby for some reason, but this guy was much more grabby. So I was like, I gotta remember to tell you guys, don't do a new pattern with this. Make sure it's a pattern. Make sure it's a pattern that you are totally familiar with, so that you don't have to do a lot of correcting or ripping back, because you're gonna be frustrated if you have to do a lot of ripping back with this one. So, because it will grab. All right, so that's a finish. See, I can't remember what I finished. All right, so I'm gonna go like a half an hour and then stop this, and then probably upload it, and then do another half an hour on my camera. So it might be a little choppy on the editing, but I wanted to show you. I don't know if you guys remember way back, I showed you this pattern, and I showed you part of the doll. I only had the head done, the legs and the boots done, and the body done, but they weren't assembled, and I kind of put it in hibernation forever. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze again. Alright, so I have done a lot of work on her because I wanted to get her off my hook. She's also crochet. Everything I've shown is crochet. I don't even think I've shown you, well, except for the socks. The socks were knitted, but I think I've been doing a lot of crochet lately. And what was I going to show you? Oh, I've done everything but the scarf and the vest jacket, which you can barely see in this picture. Right here. And I'm just having a hard time following her pattern for the vest. She does a lot of cool adjusting and cool techniques to get the look, but I've had to pretty much not follow most of the pattern because it's just too complicated for me to keep focused on, especially when my brain isn't working. So I made a lot of modifications, but Let me stand up so I can bring up the camera. Oops. Let me adjust this. Hold on. Here she is. And it doesn't look as good laying down. I'll get some pictures in of her sitting. Plus my lighting is crap. But as you can see, I finished the body, her sweater, her arms of course, her legs, her socks / leg warmers, and I made a lot of mods. In the pattern, she had a skirt that you guys can see here. Right here. I didn't want to do a skirt. She's supposed to be a snowboarding chick, roughly. I'm like, she still wouldn't wear shorts snowboarding, but I decided that it was more appropriate to have shorts on. Plus, I didn't like trying to follow the pattern. So, I knit her some shorts. So, I'm really proud of these. I custom fit them to her. I just adjusted them to however I needed them to fit her, and made them, and then folded up the cuff and tacked it down. I also knit the sweater. I didn't like how the crochet stripes look, because knitted stripes are much cleaner. And here's the collar, fold down. There's a fold down turtleneck right here. So that was done in 2x2 ribbing, and then I knit it plain, and then I did 1x1 rib at the bottom, and then attached her arms, which are crocheted. So you can see the difference in the striping from crochet striping to knitting striping, which I don't care. I think it looks good together. And this is the way she designed it. She designed the arms with 2 colors and the sweater with 3. It's fine with me. It actually kind of lines up, if you see how I attached it to the sweater. So that's knit. I modded this because I didn't want to follow the way she did her color changes in the crochet. I modded the shorts. I modded the socks. She did these crocheted with slip stitch, kind of a slip stitch ridge technique to look like knitting, and I could not figure it out. I tried 4 times, and I just said, forget it, I'm knitting them. So I just knit in the round on magic loop, just 1x1 rib. And I made sure that one end was bound off tighter. This was like the cast on edge, and this was the bind off edge, and I bound off in a relatively tight cast on because I wanted them to be poofy at the top. Hers are more poofy at the bottom, kind of like they're slouchy. But I kind of wanted them this way because it looks more like, you know, leg warmers or boot cuffs or socks kind of falling down a little bit. Also the hat, I did not follow her hat pattern at all. I just made one. So I tried to follow her hat pattern. It was way overly, I mean, I'm sorry, but I love her patterns. They're really awesome, but they're just way overcomplicated for me. So I just made this. I just mixed it with some double crochet and single crochet striping, and you know, just did whatever. You could tell it's not even. I think I did 2 single and then 3 single because I was fitting it to her at the time. And then I just was like, it's cool. I like it that way. And then the pom-poms. I did a mix. And then I you know, crocheted and decreased down, did an edge, a decorative edge, and did the braids. Because I've made a lot of these hats for like people to wear. So I just did a mini version for her. And then I did all her hair, and you'll see her hair, she has a wig cap, and then the hair is just kind of braided off of her wig cap. And I did mod it, let me take off her hat, I did mod her hair with more bangs, and I didn't do the braid around the face, mostly because I misread the pattern. So at this point I just did like a crocheted single crochet and just tacked it down as like, you know, around her face before her braids started. So I was thinking about modding it and putting the other braids in, but I was like, it's way a lot of work, and it just, I don't think it would look as good. And plus her hat is on, and I think she looks adorable with her hair like this with the hat. And I definitely put more bangs in because I knew they would be cuter with the bangs sticking out up here. So yeah, the last things I have to do are the scarf, which is this guy, which is going to be really easy to do. I just need to find the right color to do it in. And then the vest is kind of hard. She made the vest poofy to look like a real snow vest, like where they had those big poofs, like this. But I'm going to have to customize it to fit my doll anyway on the stitch count. And she goes through, on like the wrong side, she goes through like 3 different rows of stitches on the front side to get those poof ridges. It's really complicated. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to make a modification of this to make it look the same, but not do all that crazy complicated stitch work. So right now I'm just kind of thinking how I'm going to mod this, and I have to mod it for her size anyway. Everything had to be modded because my doll is larger. I did my doll all in worsted weight, and I believe the doll in the pattern is more of a DK. So even when I did the sweater and the pants and everything, the socks, I had to just modify it to her size. I couldn't follow the pattern anyway for size, so I'm going to have to do the same thing with the vest. I'm going to have to fit it to her as I figure out how to make it. So yeah, but overall it's still a really good pattern. You can learn a lot from it, and it's really complicated with like a lot of detail work that you can learn a lot from, and it is 32 pages because crochet patterns are intense because you have to explain so much, and she does extra explaining. So, but she has a lot of crazy abbreviations in here, and if you don't memorize what they all are, you have to keep flipping back. So if you get an idea here, here's just some of her abbreviations for the patterns. There's an invisible increase and decrease, which is awesome. And then here's more of the special techniques. So, I mean, everything is really, really explained in this pattern. So if you're a very advanced or really, experienced, so now we're on page 7 of the modified stitches. Yeah, this would definitely teach you a lot and be great, but like I said, I just lost patience to try to keep up with all the new complicated techniques. So I just modded it. I just changed it to knitting or modified it completely for my dolls. So, but I would definitely buy more of her patterns. I would, because eventually I'll get all of her techniques down. I just didn't have a lot of brain space. So, but here she is, and she's got the joints that allow you to sit her up. So there she is sitting. I just threw everything on the ground again. There we go. And I can't take my camera off the stand, but I will show you pictures of her sitting and how cute she is. So I'm really proud of myself. I really cranked out. It was a lot of work on her. She's a very difficult piece to do, and I'm very happy with her. I'm going to probably make the scarf and then maybe I'll just take a break and then come back for the vest. But I'm going to make the vest out of this color with the blue trim on it too, so it matches, because I ran out of the tan, and I ran out of this original blue. So I was still going into stash to find what I needed. So that way the vest will match the hat. And then I tied in all the other colors in the pom-poms like she did. So the whole thing ties together. So what scraps I had left of these colors. So yeah, I used a lot for these shorts, which I love. I really love these shorts. Man, it took me probably a whole night to figure this out. First I made a skirt, ripped it back, didn't like it. Made a skirt with a picot edge, tried to do a striped skirt, didn't like it. Tried to do the pleated skirt, didn't like it. Then I just decided shorts, and I love them because I wanted to make sure they were big and poofy like cargo pants. And yeah, so, and plus her hips come out really far, so you really have to mod. I had to do a lot of increases because this is where her legs attach, as you can see. And she's got the thread attachment that goes through. I need to get me an upholstery needle or something for this, because I've made a lot of dolls like this, and it's a pain to get a big needle through a doll body. So, but yeah, so far so good. So yay! Consider her a finish because the rest is really accessories, and she could actually go without the scarf and the vest, but I probably will end up making them just to keep adding some pieces. But I'm a little burnt on working on her at the moment, especially since I have to do all the custom adjustments. It takes a lot. I think the only other WIPs that I'm working on are the Mary Maxim blanket, which I'll show you guys where I'm at now. Ow! This chair is crazy pants. I don't like this office chair that I have to use when I film, but here we go. So I made some progress. It's a nice kind of mindless knit if you keep track of your rows. So I got through the green. I'm now through the gray. I think last time I had just started the gray. And now I have like another repeat of the white before I start the blue, which is in this color. And then a repeat of the blues like this, and then I'm done. So I'm probably, what, 2/3? Almost 2/3 of the way through of this one. And if you guys don't know, this is the Mary Maxim knit kit for December. So I just kind of work on this at night when I'm just trying to relax, because it's just feather and fan. It's a Mary Maxim pattern, so I can't really show you, but it's basic feather and fan with some pearl garter ridge in between, which, you know, isn't really proprietary. Isn't really like my pattern, you know, I'm the only one that's ever done this. Feather and fan is a very common knitting stitch, so it's basically just feather and fan, garter ridge, feather and fan, garter ridge, and just color changes here and there. And yeah, I'm pretty far along on that. I really want to get it finished. It's considered a baby blanket, but it could almost be a lap blanket, I'm thinking, when it's finished. And this is knitted. And then the only other thing before I go into future projects is my Mary Maxim for January, which is this guy, which I wasn't crazy about the color combo on this one. And I had comments saying, some people said it was 70s, some people said it was very Swiss, and I agree with all of it. It is crazy pants. So as soon as I saw it, I said, if anybody wants it, let me know. And I had Lonnie comment and say she wanted it. So this is how far I've gotten, Lonnie. So when I finish it, I will definitely keep you or contact you. But this is the scarf. So I started the scarf. I'm actually to the color work now. So, but we wanted to reverse it. She wanted to do red with the white. And because of the amount of yarn I had, if we did red with the white, we were going to have to do white with the red to get the cowl and the scarf. And then she didn't want the headband, she wanted a hat. So I'm going to have to try to see if I can modify this into a hat. But I'm going to do the scarf, the cowl first, see how much yarn I have left over to see how much I can modify the hat. And then we won't do the wrist warmers because we'll probably, to be honest, probably be out of yarn. Because with this and this combined, that would probably make a hat, and then we'd probably be out of yarn. Because there's only like 2 balls each of the colors. And so we'll see how far we get. Because the balls aren't the biggest, but they have... How much yardage is in here? Just out of curiosity. Cream, 257 yards each. So, yeah, I'm not sure how far we're going to get on this guy. Because the scarf is fairly long. So we'll see. If I have anything extra, I'll do some, try to make something else to add in, but I don't know at this point how much we're going to have left, because that's only one of the downsides, is when Mary Maxim does these guys with all the multiple pieces, they don't tell you how much each piece takes yardage-wise. They tell you the sizes and the gauge, but they don't tell you like an average yarn usage, so you really have kind of a harder time kind of going I need to do this instead of that, I need to modify it. You don't really know how far you're going to get, so you kind of just have to make one piece at a time and see how much is left, because that's the only thing is they don't give you the yardage usage for the pieces. Because if I knew that, I could do a lot more adapting, but it is what it is. So those are my WIPS. Oops, throwing my stuff on the ground. I have some future projects I really want to make. Like last time I was talking about making, out of this book, I was going to make, oh, it's not on the cover. I was going to make, let me show you guys, this one. If I can find it. I thought I had the page marked, but it was the cable one, if you guys remember. It was like a purple, here it is, pink, purple cable sweater and the hat. And you know how everything is done flat in here and seamed together? It was definitely flat and seamed. And so I didn't feel like doing cable work, and when I was going to try to convert it, I realized cable work is a lot harder to convert in the round than I thought it would be, because you have to, because you don't have the back rows flat, you have to figure out a way to do it front rows. Maybe it's simpler than I thought, but I just eyeballed it roughly and was like, I don't want to do all that thinking. So that's why I didn't make that. That's why I made the other dress instead, because I just wanted to whip out something fast and some crochet. So I might make something else out of this that I don't mind doing flat and seaming, something simpler, because of course I was going for the hardest pieces right off the bat like a dork. So, you know, all of these would be much easier to do flat, because you're just purling back, knitting. There's no lace work or complicated cables or any of that to do. So I might, for future projects, might do something out of this book. I guess it depends on my mood. But one thing I absolutely wanted to do was, and I don't have a picture of it because my printer, I'm replacing my printer, you guys. I got a really fancy one a few years ago that does everything, like a office printer, does everything in one. And it keeps running out of ink. It's using ink funny. It's printing messed up. I've tried to adjust it a million times. And I just spent $60 on ink, color ink, because it was running out of ink, and it won't print in black and white without the color. Because the excuse was it needs to use a little of the other colors when it prints black and white to keep the ink jets clean. Yeah, right. That's just a way to make you buy more ink. And it's an HP, and I usually like HPs, but it hasn't been printing right. As you can see, it was doing all that. It's doing this crazy streaking thing. If you guys can see, like on my Joya pattern, you see how streaked it is, and I've tried so many times to clean the print heads, to realign the print heads, so anything I print looks like crap. I can't use color because it goes through color like there's no tomorrow. I bought magenta, blue, and yellow for $60. I actually got it on sale, so I spent less than $60, but it was over $50 with the ink. And then 1 week later, it says it's the magenta's low again. So because it's printing really messed up, it's using, I think it's using more of the magenta than it should, because you can see here that's more pink, and then there's some blue and there's some yellow, the other colors it's using. Go figure, this is a color print, but it'll use all that even on the black and whites. So I'm replacing it. I would rather spend $40 on a little cheap printer and have cheap ink than spend $50 a pop on color ink for that stupid big one that I cannot get to work. So anyway, why did I go on that tangent? I was going to print a picture. That's why I went on the tangent for my future projects. I wanted to make, if you guys haven't seen it, I'll try to put a picture in the video of, what was it called? That shawl too. Did I tell you it was the spring shower shawl, the green one? The green and gray shawl is spring shower shawl. I'll link it below. I make that pattern all the time. I'm actually getting to the point where I think I'm getting burnt on that pattern, so I'm going to have to switch to another favorite pattern, but where was it? Blah, blah, blah. cannot find it. I thought I made a note. Crap monkeys. But it's a pattern from Two of Wands. And she's doing a lot of these bulky shawls, right? And she had one come out that I absolutely wanted to make. I went gaga for it. And it had some slip stitches, I think, and it had a Latvian braid on the front. It was knitted. And I really, really, really wanted to make it. I don't have the yarn for it. I want to buy the yarn for it. It's a new Lion Brand yarn. I think she works with Lion Brand. But I was going to show you guys a picture, but I couldn't print it. So I'll put in like a link for it so you guys can see it. But I think that might be a future project if I get the yarn. And then another future project might be something out of the Nikki Epstein book for the 18-inch dolls. I haven't decided yet. And then I wanted to make the Hadley scarf. Which was, oh, brain fart, Lulu. Anyway, I'll put her link down below for the Hadley scarf. She put out a pattern, and I was going to make that. I just had to go find the yarn for it. And I don't have any other future projects. I really don't. I'm kind of at a loss, really. I usually have so many things going, and I've finished up a lot, and now I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and if you guys are wondering, this tube is to hold needles. I don't know if you guys saw me take it off, but it has a rubber end on it, and if you're a knitter, it will hold your needles like that if you need to put them away. Like this is on a blanket, so I don't want them falling off, and then it'll hold a pretty good sized needle. I think these are won't go bigger than 8s on this size. Anyway, I don't remember where I got this from. I'll try to link it down below, but I want to get a few more. But it's just a metal tube, and they come in different colors, and then a rubber tip on it, and it's an ingenious idea, and keeps your needles protected and they don't fall off when it's in your bag. But again, I might have gotten it in like a yarn subscription way back when. It was like a gift, but I'll find it and link it. So I was just going to work on this while I did some jibber jabber. So if you guys aren't interested, you can totally leave. I was just going to talk about the giveaway and all that good stuff, and I just wanted to work on this while I did that because you guys don't want to look at nothing while I do this. So, which way am I going? Oh, I'm going this way. I think I am on a, yeah, I'm on a decrease knitting row. Decrease increasing row, I should say, a lace row. That's what I meant to say. So I hope this is relatively clear and not super blurry for you guys. But yeah, so the next thing I want to talk about was I went through and did the giveaway, and Cindy Hart's Crochet won, so yay! And she has a podcast if you guys want to go and check her out. And I've been watching a lot of new podcasts lately. Again, you know, I always try to give the shout outs to the smaller podcasts because they don't come up on the feeds very much when you just search for podcasts, because the smaller channels get pushed to the bottom. And so I wrote down a few here that I've been watching. CJ Crochet is another one I caught. Gypsy Rose, of course, I watch her. Rose Likes Crochet, I just started watching her. Who else? No Catchy Name with Ella. Christie's Corner Booth, I just started watching, and I think that's because Gypsy Rose told me about her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to count on these or I'll mess it up every time. Who else? I think Random Randy's Ramblings. I've watched her for a couple of years, but I just started watching a few of hers again. I think that's really all off the top of my head that are smaller channels. I watch all the big channels, of course, but I just want to do the shout outs for the smaller channels because those are the ones that really need the attention, because the big channels already have thousands of viewers, and I really don't like this yarn. It's so splitty, you guys. It's super splitty. I have to be really careful that I don't split it. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Should be 18 in between. Who else? The Canadian Crocheter, but she's a bigger channel. She's got a lot of viewers. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, and then Cindy Hearts Crochet, because she won. I went over and watched some of her channel. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, Cindy, and the giveaway is going to be in the mail here. I'm going to mail it out tomorrow. Because I thought I had a box that would fit, and I didn't, like a dum-dum. So I have to get a box and pack it up and all that and get it in the mail. So it's definitely going out tomorrow because I had to wait till payday. And by the time this video is up, it will probably already be in the mail, and I would have already emailed you all that information. But the giveaway was really fun because I asked if everybody, you know, oh, so splitty. I asked if everybody was a knitter or crocheter, what you did. And of course I didn't do like a scientific exact percentage, but it definitely looked like 90%, actually probably like 80% were crocheters only, that had tried knitting or wanted to try knitting. And then out of the rest, if like we did 80%, then we'd say there's like 20% left. The other 10% would be everybody who does both. It would be knitting and crochet. And then the last 10% would be 5% of that would be knitters only, and the other 5% would be people who loom knit or weave or do machine knitting. And based on my comments. So it was pretty interesting. 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't want to catch you guys on like a lace row. I wanted to just be doing the knit rows so I didn't have to think, but I did not realize I stopped in the middle of a lace row. You're basically just doing increases with your yarn overs and then decreases to get the feather and fan. But this is where you can lose stitches pretty easily. So I usually count between my markers. Each marker is a repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you have to have 18 stitches in between. So this is a place you'll usually lose them, is doing your yarn overs and your knit togethers. But as you can see, it's pretty basic, pretty simple blanket. And yes, I can still knit and crochet with these nails. I'm sure that will be a question. It's like, how do you do it? However, I have not tried to knit socks on fingering weight yarn with tiny, tiny needles yet. It may slow me down on socks. So I'm probably going to cast on some socks here pretty soon. And I think for me, I'm actually going to make a pair. Oops, I overshot that. Probably going to make a pair for me. To, you know, just a nice squishy pair of socks for me, probably out of Crochet sock yarn, to just kind of I don't know, be nice to myself. I'm usually making socks for everybody else, and then I kind of rotate me in every once in a while, but I wear my wool socks all winter. Ooh, we messed that one up big time. See, I'm not gonna be able to do this and talk, you guys. There's a knit 2 together, knit 2 together. Did I do too many knit 2 togethers? No. Maybe my yarn overs were off. Let's see. Knit 2 together, knit 2 together, knit 2 together. I didn't do a knit 2 together there, did I? Did I do 4? Oh, yeah. Yep, I cannot talk and do lace at all. I was thinking about doing a knit group, because you know how I'm sick and I don't get to get out very often, and